Hello fellow YouTubers, welcome. Today we've got something a bit, we're going through how to set up your Donner guitar. Now this is all in the title. I'm going to go through everything that I use to set up a guitar, and basically some of these things are not quite necessary, so you can do shortcuts, but I'll point to the ones that are 100% absolutely necessary, and you can do pretty much a professional job. Save yourself a couple of $100 easy with all this sort of stuff. So let's get to it, shall we? Now, this is one thing I wanted to point out is this kit here I found on eBay. There's heaps of these out there. They're about $20, right? They give you pretty much everything you need. You usually get a fret rocker, a Fritz ruler. These two things here are quintessential. You need these, right, to do a setup. If you don't have these, honestly, I've seen people on the YouTube saying you can use credit cards, things like that, but you don't get an accurate reading when you're trying to check for clicky frets. So optional thing, but I reckon it's still pretty good to have. And you can get these cheap on YouTube. Is a notched straight edge. You don't 100% need this, and I'll go through that later why, how you can get around it. But look, it gives you a good starting point, you know, a good baseline to work from. It's pretty cool to have. The other thing I've got here is radius gauges. Now, before I got these, what I used to do, I actually downloaded from the internet a printable sheet which you could actually cut out radius gauges from. It actually worked quite well, so that's an option for you if you can't get these. But these are really cheap on eBay. Just have a look on eBay. Radius gauges are pretty cheap. You'll need yourself a pair of cutters, of course. Now this is very important. Tape, right? You're going to be, we're going to be doing a little bit of, well, hopefully I can avoid it, but if you can't avoid it, we're going to be sanding down some frets. You need this to protect your fretboard, okay? I like to use this rather than those strips of metal with a slot in it, because these get right up against the fret and protect your timber completely. All right. So the other thing you'll need, again, you can get these cheap on eBay. This here is a fret file. Okay. These have a groove, as you can see right there, for basically crowning your frets properly, giving that nice round finish. Right. Another thing you want to get yourself is one of these. They've got a soft end and a harder end on them. These are for what I'd like to do. If I find a high fret, the first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to try and tap it down with this before I start taking it to one of these things, okay? This is your last resort. Using a file is your last resort that you want to do, all right? You can use the little files here that come with your kit. They work quite well, all right? But it takes a little bit more work than just using one of these fellas here. And again, these things are cheap. They're not expensive, guys. You can get these for around $10 or even less. I've seen them. They do the job, and they're not expensive. They're really handy to have. You'll use that a lot, okay? And you'll use that a lot as well, all right? The other thing you will need, you can't shortcut this one, but again, it's cheap tools. I got this feeler gauge set here from Bunnings, from the lawnmower section. This thing was not expensive at all, but it has the measurements you need. I'll go through which measurement you'll probably use when setting up your action and relief. You'll use this a lot, okay? So get yourself one of these. Even if you never do a setup, you'll still need this through your life of having a guitar, because your relief will go out of whack every now and then. This thing, you can use this to get it back again, all right? So, and last but not least, whenever I'm doing a setup on a guitar, especially a brand new one, the frets are usually disgusting. I very rarely find nice, highly polished frets at all when buying a guitar. They're always tarnished and scratchy. So what you'll need 1000 grit, 1500 grit, wet and dry paper, and some 4.0 grade steel wool. Now, before everyone starts going on about, oh, that stuff gets in your pickups, you know, you'll destroy your pickups, blah, 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 blah. 100% that is true. Not true if you do the right thing and you prepare your gear before you go ahead and go using this stuff. If you're worried about using this stuff, okay, there is another method you can use. Get yourself, here we go here, spilling the clown. Get yourself some of this stuff here. Autosol metal polish. This stuff is really, really good. A little bit more elbow grease, but look, it actually works really well. And what you do is you put a tiny dab on the end of a rag, you rub it on the fret until the stuff turns black. Then you polish it off and you'll get a mirror finish on your frets. So that's another way you can do it as well. It works just as well. Your choice, steel wool, that. I tend to use steel wool if I can take the neck off. If I can take the neck off, like a Strat style or a Telly style, then this stuff is the go. If I can't take the neck off, right, I could do two things. Cover the pickups with, I use a little bit of cling wrap, right? Cover the pickups with that and some tape. It's a bit of a method of how I do it there, because those iron filings, oh my gosh, they're like dust. No matter how, sometimes you can't be careful enough. I can do it, but yeah, you've got to be careful with that stuff. Don't want that. You don't want filing dust in your pickups. So I probably will use this for the Les Paul, because I've got a Donna Les Paul style guitar that I'll be doing today. So I'll be going to this rather than this. All right, because with this I can take the neck off and I can do a really good high polish finish with that. Bit of extra work. I can achieve the exact same stuff with this. If you can't do this and you have to resort to that, look, don't fret. You're just gonna have to do a bit more prep work. Cover those pickups up entirely. Don't just use a little bit of tape on them, right? Because that stuff gets everywhere. You pull the tape off and then the stuff that's left over will just go zoom straight down into the pickups. You don't want that, all right? But we'll go to that later. And of course, the avocado. That'll be at the end. Alrighty, so I'm going to go get my Donna guitar. What I'm going to do, because I do have a bench downstairs, but I'm doing this to show you guys at home how you can do this sort of stuff at home. Get some soft blankets. These are like baby blankets I've got. My kids are all grown up now. They don't need to sleep on these anymore. So I've got two of these. That'll be for the head. That'll be for the bed. I'm going to go get the Donna guitar now. I've got the basic entry-level one. Now these entry-level $100 beginner basic guitars, they're good, but I can tell you now they're rough as guts. So I'm going to get it out and we'll go through the setup of the guitar from start to finish, all right? Okay, see you later. Okay, so just to go over a couple of other things now. Now this here is the Donna Les Paul style guitar. Now I've noticed something when I took this out, because this is my daughter's guitar and I was pleasantly surprised, in this instance pleasantly surprised to see it's a bolt-on. So I'm going to be taking this off the body. The reason why is because I'm going to be polishing these frets and I don't want any of that garbage to go down into here, because these things here, as you can see right here, your coil is just below that tape there. You don't want to get any iron filings or metal filings, whatever you want to call it, into there at all. So I'm going to take the neck off. I'm going to take the strings off. I'm going to restring it. Now my daughter is going to be using Rocksmith, so don't know if anyone has ever known this, but Dr. Neon multicolors are actually color coded to the same color codes as Rocksmith. So that's going to be cool. So she's going to be able to learn the guitar relatively easier, knowing where all the strings are. Well, that's my theory anyway. The other thing I didn't go through when I was going through all this too, I forgot to mention, probably asking what's with the coins. That's a good question, because when I measured these coins, they just happen to be the correct height setting, generically speaking, for most pickups. So that'll be for the low E side, that'll be for the high E side. A $1 coin in Australia here anyway, and a 10-cent piece now in America or any side of the world. Just get yourself a pair of calipers. Have a look at the specifications of your pickups and all that, and you should be able to just find something that has the same sort of gauge as what's required. It makes life easy because then all you have to do is put that on top of there, fret down and adjust until the coin hits the string. How easy is that? Anyway, more on that later. Let's get the strings off this guy and let's get the strings off and start work. So much rather I'm just going to pause the video here because you don't want to see me unwinding strings and cutting strings off. You should, it's pretty basic stuff. Unwind it here, get your snips, cut them off, carefully wrap them up, to put it together and dispose of them properly. All right. Talk to you soon. Okay, so I've now got the neck off, and I've got a cloth here because I'm not using an arch or anything because there's no body, so I'm not going to have to worry about that. I just need this thing flat as I can get, all right, and cushioned, because we're going to go through now the fret leveling process. Without this, yes, this is probably the most important part of the setup. This is what allows you to get nice low action and not have any choking out or fret buzzing. All right, so I'm going to use this. You can get away with not using it, but I like to be thorough. So what I do is I sit it on the fretboards like such. I've got a bright light right there, and I'm looking for light coming under the ruler, and it's looking pretty dead flat. So I don't have to adjust the truss rod. That's bang on the money. All right, so no lights coming under there. Look, I've heard it argued for and against, and I know some really good professional luthier friends of mine that actually don't worry about that side of it. That's mainly if you've got a really badly warped neck. Now, you've got to remember that when this thing's all strung up, it will actually bow. So if you're doing this dead flat, and you make these directly in line to that dead flatness, when it bows, it's not going to be the same, is it? So it's really not going to make that much difference, I've found. But if it's badly, like if these things are really bad, it will make a difference. So it's up. Look, you don't have to do it at home if you're at home if you haven't got those. But if you've got one of these things, that's great. You can even make one of these things by getting a proper metal ruler from Bunnings, here, or if you're overseas, Home Depot, and just cut the notches in using a grinder. That works just as good. So there you go. Anyway, the next step, this fella here. This is an important part of the process. So what I'm going to do is I'm checking for any frets that are high. And you wouldn't believe it, at first go, I found a high fret. Listen to this. Can you hear that clicking? That's bad. That's actually real bad. I'd go as far as to say that's not even playable. So, first things first, before we go filing anything, I'm going to use this fella here. I'm going to use the soft part. This is nice and soft here, and it's going to be a couple of sharp taps. Because sometimes they just don't get seated right in the factory. Okay, so that stopped clicking there, still clicking here, so it is actually going down. Not high there, so it's high on this side. I'm going to give it one more go. No, that's going to have to be tooled. So what I'm going to do, get a Sharpie, and I'll mark that fret just there. That's the high spot, that's the low spot. We work our way down. No clicking. No clicking there. I'm going to have to flip to the other edge now. Clicking there. Clicking there. Yeah, okay, so that's another high one. This is probably the worst example I've seen in a guitar, to be honest with you. I usually only find one or two that are like this. This one's got a fair bit of... Okay, that knocked it down pretty good. Tiny bit of clicking. Nah, that's got it. Next. Nah, that's got it. Next. Oh, that one's shocking. Look at this. I can actually pass my fingernail under that. So that's real high, that one. But to be honest, for everyone, that's what you pay the money for. No, that's got to be sanded. That's way too high. That's the whole fret's high on that one. So we've got to level that fella. All right. No, that's fine. Flip to the other edge. It's a little tiny bit of clicking. Look, sometimes you can get away with a tiny bit of clicking. It's not that bad. Like if it's just barely clicking, you can probably leave that. I'm not going to though, because I'm a perfectionist. Yeah, right. Oh, that's got it. Look at that. See, I don't have to do that fret. Not clicking there, clicking in the middle, not clicking there. So it's a little bit high in the middle. Got it. Yeah, everything else looks pretty tidy from now on. So it looks like the problem was high up. Yeah, look at that. Everything's dead straw. Nah, that's passable. Like I said, a tiny little bit of movement. It's not the end of the world. Oh, that one's clicky. Not anymore. Yeah, bang on. All right, so look at the frets here. We managed to hammer down all the others. We've got two problem childs here and here. So we're going to work on those to get them right, okay? So get out the old tape. Normally this is to protect the fretboard, but I'm going to show you something. If you want to bring the camera quick here, this is rough. See this? Look at this. It could be because it's just dry, but there's glue there, bit of glue there. So I'm probably not even going to. I'm only doing this for the sake of the education of this, but this is that rough that I'm going to have to dress this, and I'm going to use sandpaper, probably some triple O, to just give this a really good smooth over, because that's rough. Look at that. You don't want to put your, Anyway, I'm taping up anyway. So I'll tape this side up here, get it close to the fret as possible. Now this is the tricky part. All right, and I'm going to use my fretting file. Like I said, you can use one of these files here out of one of these cheap kits. They do work. And what you'll want is this fella here. All right, and you want to follow the thing. This is a bit harder work because you've got to follow the ridge. You don't want to go flat because you'll flatten your fret out. The other way to do it, use a proper file here. Again, you want to follow the curve. Now I'm focusing here to here. I'm not going to touch this part here. I'm just going to focus here. I'll still use a little bit of pressure here because I'm trying to keep the radius. You notice too that I'm not going dead flat. I'm going like a slight angle each side. You take about, I don't know, 7 or 8 passes of that. Get my fret rocker and check again. Oh, that's getting better. Again, I'm following the curve. I'm not going straight across and sawing a flat spot on the top of it. Just, it's important you follow the curve like that. You'll feel it. You can feel the curve, and you're just using my finger here on the top, just guiding it across the curve. Oh, that's so close. It's actually got it there. There's no rock, there's no clicking. No clicking there, just a little bit of clicking on the end. So I'm just going to concentrate my effort there. Bang on. No more clicking. Fantastic. Next one. This one's going to be the hard one because it's really high. So all right. Again, we're going to follow the radius. Now I'm not skipping this because I just want to show you how quick you can get this material down. Right, and again, as I was saying before, this tool is not expensive. So there's no excuse to not do this properly and use, like, you know, it's a normal, you can't, like I said before, you can use a normal file. All you got to do is just make sure you don't file flat spots, that you follow the curve. But the curve's already in this one, so, you know they're like $10. Why would you bother? If you can afford $110 for a cheap ass guitar, you could afford $10 for a fretting file. So. Oh, one thing to mention, these fretting files have a coarse end and a fine end. Use the coarse end to get the material down. There's a lot of material on this one. It's ridiculously high and it's been glued in, so it's not going to go down any further. It's either been cut shallow or just glued damn good and I can't knock it down, so. Anywho. Let's remove this tape off. For a sec. Oh, that's got it. Yep. We're good to go with this one. That's done. So what I'm going to do now, all this is ready to go. So I'm just going to get a little bit of that quadruple steel wool and polish this off. So A little bit of this. My body, the guitar body's not here, so I'm not going to worry about it. If you did have one of those ones where it's glued in, set, or what they call a set neck, you're going to have to cover your body up really good with, I used to use a bit of cling wrap and tape. Make sure that it's really shielded. And when you go to take all the cling wrap and tape off, go outside and do it. Don't do it inside your lounge room. Just want that nice open air where you can just flick it straight out. Don't get any of that garbage on your pickups. So I'm just going to do a quick dress up of this timber because it's disgusting. And there's glue all over it. Yeah, that's better. 4-0 steel wool is ridiculously good because it's so fine that you're not going to leave a whole heap of scratchy tool marks. You're just going to have nice, clean, smooth wood. Alright, so I'm just going to go over all this whole lot. I'm going to work my way down this and then we'll get back to next dressing the frets. Alright, see you later. Okay, the next part is the boring part. That's taping up the frets, and I know some people just think, oh, this is terrible. I don't like doing this. I'm going to use one of these things here. Let me just show you. I don't like these. They're okay for a quick, in between, when you've already set up. But doing a setup, don't use these things. I mean, yes, they do make things easy for you, but they don't exactly fit the fret. And you'll get a bit of a gap in there. We're going to be doing some really hardcore sanding, so you don't want the sandpaper touching this board and ruining your good board. So that's good for just polishing. That's it. All right, we're going to be doing this properly. So I'm going to tape up. So what I like to do is get the edge of the tape, put it snug in there like that, fold it, put it under. The same on this side. Put it snug in there, up against the fret, and fold over. All right, I'm going to do this all the way down here. Like I said, it's tedious. When you get down to these lower parts, you're going to have to use some scissors or something and just cut them to the right size, but do the job properly. It's only time, it's not money, so do this right and you'll get a really good job. So I'll just continue doing this. There's no need to have this camera rolling anymore. I'm just going to continue, and when I get back, you'll see it's all taped up, and we'll get into the dressing and crowning of these frets. Alrighty, see you soon. Okay, so now we're into the part of polishing the frets. So what I've got here, I've got some coarse grade, like 1000 grit wet and dry, and then some 1500 grit wet and dry. And then we'll polish after this. So this part here is just going to take out all the rough tool marks and stuff like that. And I'll go through this. I've already taped up all of here, so there's no chance of me damaging the fretboard or the binding. So here we go. So I'm trying to bring the camera close to what I'm doing. All right, so basically even pressure. I want to remove all that oxidization and those little tiny scratches. And you want to use the pad of your finger to just feel the pad of your finger just to feel the roundness and follow that roundness, all right? Go over the edges a bit, just a little bit like that, so that we can smooth off those little edges there. Take your time, don't go like a bull at a gate, just evenly go over. Again, smooth off those little edges of there. Use the feeling of your finger, right? If you don't want to go over the edge onto the plastic binding, but you can feel that, right? Okay, now the fine stuff. Just give it a good polish. Put some friction there. You can see that metal coming off on the edges. That's good. All right. Yeah, it's feeling nice and smooth. I can actually see lots of little tooling marks all the way down there. And I didn't even sand this one. This is just out of the factory like that. That's better. Now, the next bit, I'm going to do both methods, neck on and neck off methods, right? So this is 4O grade steel wool. Get it? And give it a good polish. Really give it a good go. Oh, it's coming up beautiful. This stuff will bring a mirror finish on this fret. Look at that. Just have a look at that. Move the camera around, just see see how glassy that is? That's what you want. All right. Nice glassiness. Shouldn't see any marks at all. So just give it a little bit more of a go, because I noticed a couple of marks there. Beautiful. Look at that. Now I'm going to show you the other method of doing this. So we're going to the next fret now. This is the one I hit with the that I gave a hiding to. So we'll go to the coarse stuff first. We want to get rid of all of those filing marks that I put on there. Give it a good go. And I'm going to show you the other way to polish this, the not so dangerous way. Mind you guys, I've been doing this for years. I've never had a pickup go bad, because I'm careful. None of my pickups, and I've done my upgrades, taken pickups off, you know, after I've worked on them after a few years. There's no filings in there. Make sure there's no tool marks I can feel. No. There's a little bit of a line there I can see. So we're going to rub it out. Just like using an eraser, you just rub those lines out. Alright. Now, I'm going to use the auto sol method. This stuff here. Little is more with this stuff. You don't need a lot. This stuff's like magic. So you put just a tiniest little smidge like that. And you run that along the edge like that. Okay, and then start rubbing. See all the black stuff coming off? This stuff literally just melts away the scratches. There, see how it's gone black? That means it's ready for polishing. So you rub till it turns black and polish. Okay, have a look at those two frets. You tell me which one's more shiny. Just move it across the two frets there, these two. You tell me which one's more shiny. Both pretty good, eh? That one's not done yet.
This one towards this one.
So, much of a muchness, eh? All right, I'm going to go doing the exact same thing across all this board now, and when we're finished, I'll take the tape off, and we'll get to conditioning the actual fretboard itself. See you later. Okay, we're back again. The next step into this, before I bolt the neck back on, as you can see, all the frets are now nice and shiny, right? But the fretboard is dry and disgusting, so we're going to give this a bit of a drink. Now, you can use basically anything. I've used Kaiser lemon oil. I've got this Fender oil here. You can even use just linseed oil. That'll do the trick as well. Just put a little drop on each one. Like that. This is dry, so I'm just using, normally you probably didn't have to use this much. You could probably just wet the rag and do it. But because this is so dry, I'm going to put a drop on each fret, like that. I'm just using my finger, just spread it. Let's get it in there, rub it in. I'm not using the cloth just yet. Already, that's how dry it is. Already those drops are starting to soak in before I get a chance to spread it. Anyway, just spread it with my finger. It's already starting to dry, look. Man, talk about a dry fretboard. All right. Leave that soak a few minutes and we'll come back and buff it off. All right, given this time to dry, already you can see it's starting to penetrate here, but we're going to buff it off now. So just give it a good clean. Look at that, that's coming out of the wood. All right, so give it a good buff, get all the gunk out of it. Look at all that, see that? Keep doing that until the rag is clean. I might have to go change the rag. Any bit of fluff that snags off, that's all right. I'll just keep doing that until the rag is clean, and then we're good to go to bolt on. Catch you next time. Okay, so now I took the blanket outside and dusted all that iron, like bits of metal filings off and all that, and turned it over just to be on the safe side. We're ready to put the neck on now. As you can see, the neck's come up really good. Shiny frets, all nice and straight. This should go really well. So we're going to bolt the neck back on. Make sure she's firmly in the pocket. Okay, now, all right, so the secret here is don't be in a hurry. Line the plate up with the holes. All right. Make sure she's snug down hard in the pocket. And I like to tighten these up diagonally when I start tightening. I'm going to make a particular point when it comes to tighten these things up too. I'm going to get these in until they bite. As soon as I feel them bite in there. There we go, that's in the hole. I don't use power tools when I do this because there's always a risk that'll get away with you. And for the sake of like a couple of minutes, why risk it, you know? It's a precision instrument. Why would you go at it with a power tool? So never ever just tighten one screw up on one corner. You'll cause it to go crooked inside the pocket, and you don't want that. So now that we're here, just go just till it meets the plate, just barely touching it. And I go diagonally, like that, just touching it. It's not even finger tight. Okay, again, just touching. Now a lot of people ask, how tight should you do these? And the chances are you don't need to go vice gripping these to get it to sit tight in the pocket. As a matter of fact, all you need to do is this. Go till it's tight like that, using these fingers only, not your fist, just like this. That's it. Again, diagonally. Go like that till it meets the plate, and just a little knit. That's all you need to do. More is, less is more. Just until it gives you good resistance. That's it. You hear that? That's it. That is snug in the pocket. That is not going to move. There's no gaps here. The neck's not moving. If you want to know a little bit more about where I learnt that from, I was watching a YouTuber called Dylan Talks Tone, and he went through that in more detail as to why you only do that just hand tight. And he is able to prove, he's got a lot more gear than what I have, that it makes no difference having it just tight like that, So that's how you tighten the neck. Now, anyway, that's ready to go. We are now ready to string this guitar up. First things first, though, I've got a brand new clean rag, and I'm going to give it a bit of a clean. So I got this stuff here. Any guitar polish will work. Look, I'm not here to sell any product or endorse anything. Everything here is bought by I bought myself. I'm not an affiliate of any channel or any business or anything like that. This is just stuff I've bought either on eBay or the local guitar store. So, a bit on the rag, a bit on the guitar body. Once you put the polish on, you give it a bit of a buff. It's a good idea to keep all your stuff clean. Why? Because it looks good, duh. Anyway. Make sure you use a nice open weave cloth and not something harsh like your nylon sports jacket or anything like that. Just a nice soft cloth for polishing. That's all you need. Super. There we go. And I'm going to string up now. Put the bridge back on. Screws face in. Towel piece on. And we're good to go. I put on back to front. No, I didn't. That's right. So we're ready, good to go. All right. Okay. This is how I like to string a guitar. I'm just going to do one to start you off. Pull that through. All right. Now, I like to get my hand on here like that. Pull it through the eye like this. Grab this fella here. This is called a luthier's knot. You go under. So you always go from the inside to the outside like that, under. Put your finger down here, pull and lock it in like that. That string is locked in place. When I tune it, the string will get grabbed and pull tight. Keep your finger here turning until you get full resistance here. Seat it in. Alright, so it's got a bit of tension there. Grab your string with your fingers like this. Okay, start here and push down on the string to... They call this stretching the strings, but that's a bit of a misnomer because strings don't actually stretch contrary to popular belief. What you're actually doing is you're seating everything in tight so that it can't pull. Because if you don't do that, all these little slacknesses here, here, and in here will be there, and then you go to tune it and they'll pull in, and all of these things will start tightening here and giving you a little bit, just that little bit more room on your string and causing it to go out of tune. So you've seen how I did that. I'm going to do that to the rest of the strings and we'll get back to the rest of the setup. Cheers. Okay, so we're now part of the final part of the journey, and that is we're doing the setup. Now I've tuned this to pitch already, and we always follow the rule we call train. Train stands for tune, then relief, intonation, action, then noodle. So the tuning part, well, I've done. So the next part we're going to do now is relief. Oh, and one more important part, I'll get to the intonation in a sec, but this thing's fully intonated. So well done, Donna, for doing that, making that part of my life easy. This thing's already intonated. I didn't have to worry about it. But if I had to worry about intonation, they're the screws there. So typically what would happen is if I push my finger down on that fret there and tune it, it should be the same note on your tuner. So so this is your E string. I put my tuner on, it'll tune to E. If I push down and pull, it should be the same, all right? And it was through the whole lot. So, but if it was a bit sharp, you would adjust that screw until it was back to where it's supposed to be, let go, and then readjust, and you do that back and forth until they both tune to the same pitch, all right? So, but I don't have to worry about that. So that part of the train don't have to be concerned with. So what we're going to do now is go for the relief. Now, get yourself a capo. Move the guitar up a bit, and we're going to block this fret here, like that. Okay, I'm going to give myself some room here. I'm going to get my feeler gauges. Going from smallest to largest. I want, there's 009, I want 10, 0, 1, 0. All right, so that's usually the sweet spot in most guitars. So we'll check the relief by pushing down on this fret here, and we'll count 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, right? We'll just check the relief. And you're not gonna believe this, I'm bang on the money. Look at that. So the relief is actually bang on. You should be able to slide the gauge up there and have no light passing underneath there. So that's actually set. That's rare. Normally, I would have to fix that by going through here, this truss rod. 9 times out of 10, I've got to do that. So I just got lucky this time with that. So yeah, you'd undo these screws here. You get an Allen key which comes with your kit. And if you need to put a bit more relief, that way. And if you need to lessen it, if you need to remove some of the relief, you pull it that way to tighten it, and that'll pull the neck straighter. To loosen it, you go that way, and that'll put more bow in the guitar. Alrighty, so that's done. We are done. Again, if we were to intonate, which is the next thing, you pick, see if it's in tune, fret that one, see if it's in tune, bam. Okay, so the next one is action. Now, these things here make life a hell really simple. So all you need to do is to check on how high the action is. All right, so measuring on the 12th fret, we're looking pretty good. So if someone was a beginner guitarist, they'd probably look at this at having it this high. This is like halfway between high and low. So that's your lowest setting, that's your highest setting. But if you're looking at an angle down. If you're looking where I'm looking, it's halfway between the two. That's a good happy medium. That's fine. We'll check here. All right, that's a little high. So we need to adjust that. So what we need to do to adjust that is adjust this screw here. All right, so this is the part which is really annoying. We're going to have to detune the guitar in order to move that up and down. Never ever up and lower or raise a bridge under full tension. That absolutely will wreck your bridge. Alrighty, so I'm just going to do that now. So to loosen all these off, detune the whole thing, which took me a little while to tune, but you know what? It's better to be safe than sorry. Make sure they're all floppy. And these should just be able to finger tighten then. See, look how easy that is to turn. So you still can use this under low tension just to see if it's going up and down. So we're going to lower this. We're just moving this thumb screw here to screw it down. All right. Screw it down. Like I said, because I've loosened it all off, there's no tension there. That's easy, goes down. All right, so we'll just lower this a bit, just a couple of turns. All right, that's got it. Now we'll tune it up again. Use my handy dandy tuner. Elephants and dingoes get bored easily. Who out there gets paranoid about the high note going ping and taking your nose off? Not me. Alright, so yeah, let's have a look at the height now. Oh, bang on the money! So that's measuring at the 12th fret, so that's fine. Woohoo! So, we're good. Okay, one more final tune. Silly boy. Done. And there you have it. There's a fully set up guitar, ready to go. There shouldn't be any buzzing. I'll just get myself a pick. The one tool I didn't get, a pick.
Yeah.
All right. So, now we listen for buzzing. No buzzing there. No choking out. Last string. No buzzing at all. So, how many times have you seen that where you get a cheap guitar like that? How many times have you actually seen an expensive guitar with absolutely no rattle or buzz in any of the strings and all that? And that was done with a cheap guitar from start to finish, and you can do this too. This is quite simply not a hard job and easy to do for anyone. So the last thing that we're going to do just to finish this off once and for all the setup's been done. Like I said, this is the kind of setup that would happen if you were to take this guitar. This would cost you about, in Australia, this would cost you anywhere between $150 to $200 to get done what I've just done there, and you can do that yourself. You can do this with basic tools that you've got at home. And look, if you want to, the tools are not expensive. Those tools I got on eBay are literally between $5 and $10 each. You can even get the whole kit for 20 bucks. You'll still need to get yourself a file, but if you got that kit and a $10, $5 to $10 file, you can do all your own setups at home. So yeah, proof is in the pudding right there, mate. Absolutely no buzzing at all, anywhere up and down that fret. So yeah, the only one thing I'll add, which I haven't shown you yet, is how to adjust the pickup height. And like I said, I found the sweet spot is with something you all got in your change bin. A $1 coin and a $10 coin. And all you need to do is pop it under there like that. And see how that's a bit low? Yeah, that is a tad bit low. So all you do is adjust with this screw here until that meets there like that. How easy is that? Same here. That's the right height already. Don't have to worry about that one. On the other side, because the strings are a lot narrower, you need to get closer to the frets. And that's fine. That's fine. So there you go. That's it. Your guitar is now fully set up. Go forth and conquer. And I haven't forgotten about the final part of the equation. The avocado. The reason why I had this avocado here is you've been clickbaited!